living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what God did to, everyone on the planet, because I know some dude ate the wrong fruit or something. I'm not really sure. Anyway, thank you for joining me once again for a Flat Earth debate. And we've got a good one tonight. We have someone joining us all the way from Hong Kong. I've been following his posts on Facebook. He goes by the name of Globbies Hey on Facebook, and he talks a lot about Coriolis. And we're going to have a nice discussion about that. So please do enjoy. Please share the stream. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if this is your first time here to see a dumpster fire on FTFE. Now let's just get over to it. Fung, hello, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello. I'm fine.
Would you like to take a couple of minutes, introduce yourself, and tell people your position on the shape of the Earth?
Yeah, sure. My name's Fung, and I'm from Hong Kong. Well, it's pretty early for me, actually, so I just woke up. And I've been a flat earther for 6 years now. And I think the Earth is flat. Well, it's certainly not a ball. So, yeah, that's
okay.
That's
And
about it.
why do you think that? What's kind of your main reason for thinking that?
Well, you see, I go through the education like all of us do. Receive the same information, the same doctrine, and then when the flat Earth movement, so to speak, came along, I always think it's stupid, like everybody else. But I started to try to debunk it. So I tried to look into all the claims that make, and then all the facts, and then compares it to reality. And then I come to realize that we are not living on a spinning ball. So that's when the realization comes in, and I'm a flat earther now.
Okay. Just out of interest, what level of education do you have in physics and maths and things like that?
Well, just general knowledge of physics. I would say I'm not a master of anything, and yeah, I just have a keen interest in it, and I study a lot, I read a lot, I watch videos a lot. So yeah.
Okay, so what would you say is the biggest bit of evidence that points towards the Earth being flat? Because I've spoken to well over 500 flat earthers. I've had close to 600 flat earth debates at this point, and not once at any point has anyone ever presented evidence that could suggest the Earth is exclusively flat. So what would you say is your most damning bit of evidence against the globe for the Earth being flat?
To me, I would say there are three lines of evidence that suggest that the Earth is not a spinning ball.
Okay.
The first one is Coriolis Effect. That means the Earth is not spinning, and no one has demonstrated it to be spinning. That's one. The second one is we can't have a sky vacuum without a container. If the Earth is a spinning ball and there is this sky vacuum, you will have a container in order to have gas pressure. Since we have gas pressure, so the sky cannot be a vacuum.
Uh-huh.
And the third one is being a sphere, there is a certain geometric constraints that limits the distance to the horizon from observer point, and we've seen pictures goes beyond that. So that means the Earth cannot be a sphere. Yeah,
to
those are the three main
far.
lines of evidence.
So
I believe here is that.
your evidence would be what? Lack of Coriolis force. Yeah. The
Yes,
fact that
lack of
there is
Coriolis.
a
Yes.
sky vacuum and that we can see too far.
Now it's not we can see too far. It's we can see beyond the geometric constraints of a spherical Earth.
Okay,
Let's put it
right.
that way.
Let's start with Coriolis. I'm going to be blunt with you, Fung. Straight away, I could tell that you don't really understand what Coriolis actually is and the physical mechanisms behind it. So, would you please describe for me what you think the Coriolis force is?
Coriolis effect. Well, Coriolis effect is a apparent, not actual deviation for an observer standing on a non-inertial spinning reference frame, observing some objects in the inertial reference frame. Well, since you're turning underneath it, the objects seem to deviate from your vantage point,
Okay.
and that's Coriolis.
No, that's not Coriolis. Coriolis is all about the conservation of momentum. Coriolis doesn't apply to something that's just floating there on Earth. Coriolis only applies to something that is moving whilst on the rotating Earth. So if I'm going to ask you to give me the prediction that Coriolis would expect from what I'm asking here. If I was to fire from the equator an artillery shell north, what would the predictions of Coriolis be for the projectile?
Well, I think we have to be pretty sure about the definition of the Coriolis first, because what you're detailing is not Coriolis.
Yeah, it absolutely is. What you gave was a description of the physical manifestations of Coriolis, but the actual physical mechanism behind what is causing Coriolis is all to do with conservation of momentum. That's why I'm asking you to give me what Coriolis would predict. You know, what would we expect if Coriolis is real and the Earth is rotating? What would we expect under these conditions? I'm on the equator
Yeah.
and I'm firing an artillery shell north. Okay? What would I expect to happen to that projectile as it travels north?
Well, it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter where the direction the projectile is
It
going.
really
It
does.
can be even stationary because the cause of Coriolis. What is the cause of Coriolis?
The conservation of momentum.
No, it's not.
Yes, it absolutely
It's
is.
the Earth spinning. Well,
Yeah, the Earth spinning, which imparts a need for
Neil-
conservation of momentum, and that is what causes the Coriolis, because of things wanting to maintain their their momentum. Conservation of momentum is a physical law that we can't get away from, and that's why I want to know that you understand what Coriolis would predict on the model that we say, okay? Which is why I'm asking you this question. It doesn't apply to something that's stationary. It only applies to things that are moving. And that's why I'm asking, if you are at the equator and you fire an artillery shell north, what would I expect under the effect of Coriolis to happen to that ballistic projectile leaving the artillery? There is a very specific thing that should happen under the forces of Coriolis when it's traveling north from the equator. And what is that?
First of all, Coriolis is not an actual force. It's an apparent drift.
It's an emergent force.
There's no force applying to the object.
Yeah, that's
Really?
not what apparent means.
Yeah,
there is a physical movement,
have a
and that's
for
why
it.
that's why I'm asking you, under the known laws of Coriolis and what it does on Earth, right? If we were to apply the maths behind Coriolis, because there is an equation that you use to actually calculate what you would expect to happen. So, if the Earth is a rotating globe rotating at 15.04 degrees per hour, and we take something from the equator, an artillery shell, and fire it north, Under the known laws and predictions of Coriolis, what should happen to that ballistic projectile? You have to be able to answer this question if you are to talk about Coriolis.
Well, okay, let's just roll with it. It would drift.
It would drift.
Simple as that.
How? In what way?
In what ways?
Yes.
Well,
how? In what particular way would it drift? So from the vantage point, from the vantage point of the people, right, hold on, from the vantage point of the people firing the artillery shell from the equator north, what would happen to that projectile from their vantage point?
Okay, the projectile is still going straight, but you see deflection, deviate from straight from your vantage point. Because you're turning underneath it.
It's not turning underneath, it's turning independently. So what specifically, from the vantage point of the people watching the projectile, which way is it going to drift, left or right?
I'll say left.
No, it would go to the right because, and this is very important, the projectile will drift ahead of the Earth's rotation, right? Ahead of the Earth's rotation. It will actually rotate faster than the Earth as it travels north. And there's a very specific reason for that. As the projectile is fired from the equator, it has the momentum, the linear velocity from west to east of approximately 1,000 miles an hour. We all know that at the equator, the Earth's surface has a linear velocity of approximately 1,000 miles an hour. Now, the further you go north, the less the linear velocity of the Earth is. At the poles there is no linear velocity. About halfway it's roughly about half the velocity. So as you go north, the linear velocity of the Earth decreases. But the projectile, as it's fired, has the momentum of traveling with the Earth's rotation at 1,000 miles an hour. But then it moves into an area of the Earth with a lower linear velocity. But it's got a linear velocity that's higher than that bit of the Earth that it's moved into, which means that it will drift ahead of the Earth's rotation. Exponentially so, the further north it goes, if it was to travel, infinitely. That is a prediction of the Coriolis. In the north, it will always drift clockwise, whichever way you're going. So you could fire east to west, west to east, north to south, south to north. The projectile will always drift clockwise. In the southern hemisphere, the projectile will always drift anti-clockwise, because it will always want to maintain the momentum of the point that it's fired from, and then it moves into an area of different momentum, so it has to maintain its momentum. That is what is meant by the conservation of momentum, and that is the physical mechanisms behind what is causing the Coriolis force.
That is the claim.
No, that's not the claim. That's a fact. That's measurable.
But see, Craig, that is what you are describing is not Coriolis.
Yes, it is. That's exactly Coriolis.
Well, I have a citation for it. Do you want me to read it?
Please do read the citation, because I can guarantee you it's about to back me up.
Okay, it's from Sigurd Douglas on the Introduction to Ocean Science. So it quotes, "When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air and water masses, move in straight path, while the Earth continues to rotate independently."
Yes, exactly.
Because so they're in separate reference frames.
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I've described.
One inertial reference frame, one rotating reference frame, non-inertial rotating reference frame. That's where we are.
That is exactly what I've just described, yes.
Okay. So because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they are subjected to an apparent deflection called the Coriolis effect. Now, that's the Coriolis effect definition. And it doesn't apply solely to the Earth. Anything that is spinning,
yes, of course,
to it.
Any rotating thing has Coriolis applied. Yeah, but what you just described, everything that you just described, was exactly what I said. You just backed up what I said.
So it's not subject to any direction then.
Yes, it is.
Because
That's the
course,
drift.
Now the course of Coriolis is what? You rotating underneath something.
No,
You
not underneath.
are
No. Hold on. No, it doesn't say underneath. It says independently, not underneath. Those two things are not the same. Okay.
Sorry, Craig. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah.
In the citation I provide, when set in motion, freely objects, including air and water masses.
Yeah, free. Once they're moving, yes.
It is describing something not attached onto the non-inertial spinning reference frame. So anything leaves it. In other words,
so a artillery shell, like I just explained, yes.
Yeah, like a artillery shell, if that effect really exists. So
it does. I mean, there's recorded instances of this.
Let me give you another example. When you're on a roundabout, right? You are turning. So if you observe something that is not on your spinning reference frame, not on the roundabout, things seem to drift. If you observe a lamppost, it seems to comes towards you.
No, a lamppost isn't. No, that's incorrect. That's a completely false analogy, because the lamppost is not a freely moving object. Right? The Coriolis force applies to things that are freely moving, as in they are traveling in a straight line path for them. All right. So the backwards and forwards swing. Hold on.
Well,
so the backwards and forwards swing of the pendulum. Hold on. Let me finish. So the backwards and forwards swing of a pendulum, the ballistic flight of a projectile, even the powered flight of a plane, because it is moving independently, will be subject to the forces of Coriolis. However, the plane has a big ass engine, which is much stronger than the forces that the Coriolis effect imparts onto it. So the Coriolis force does not apply to a lamppost, because that would not be a freely moving object. The Coriolis force applies to things that are moving in a straight line path on a rotating body. So the inertial reference frame would be for the ballistic thing traveling to the north. That is, it's in its inertial reference frame, and the spinning reference frame, the rotating reference frame, would be the Earth rotating independently from it. So the physical effect is that artillery shell wants to maintain its momentum of linear velocity, 1,000 miles an hour, while it's moving into an area with a lower linear velocity, meaning that it will drift ahead of the rotation. Not only is this recorded, but it's taken into account by military. There is, let me just bring this up so I can show you, countless military manuals that give instructions for how to compensate for the Coriolis force. You can find all of these on mctoon.net/Coriolis-artillery. And so here we have Ordnance Pamphlet number 770, talking about your artillery shells, and it actually has the deflection in yards due to rotation of the Earth. And when you do the maths for these, this is what the Coriolis would predict, and the amount you would need to actually adjust to get the correct thing. So why would military have instructions for accounting for the Coriolis force? So again, here it says corrections to range in meters to compensate for the rotation of the Earth, which is the Coriolis, being applied to a freely moving object on a rotating reference frame. And there's many more. There's also stories of military battles where because it's different to the north and south because of clockwise and anti-clockwise, the British were firing at other ships, and they had their rangefinder set for Coriolis adjustments in the northern hemisphere, which meant that when they fired their missiles, they were actually twice the distance off from what they would expect, until they realized that they needed to adjust for being in the southern hemisphere and do the calculations for counterclockwise, and then start hitting their missiles.
I'm familiar with the story, but yeah. Well, what you're presenting there is there's something written on the menu, but do you think the soldiers or anyone who fires artillery is going to really do the maths? Because before
they don't need to do the maths. It's been done for them. They don't need to do the maths. It's been done for them, so they know the adjustments.
That's your example, right? So can we both agree that
hold on, my example.
Of Coriolis.
My example is the fact that military manuals say that you have to adjust for, drift that's imparted due to the rotation of the Earth. And yes, it is the rotation of the Earth that is the thing that's imparting the drift. The physical mechanism behind it is because of the conservation of momentum. And this is something I need to drill into the heads of flat earthers. That Coriolis force is 100% about the conservation of momentum. That is the physical mechanism behind what is causing it.
And that's where you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Well, you say it. So,
I've done the maths myself. I've studied physics. I've been taught how to do it. That is the physical mechanism. When you do all the calculations, you have to take into account the conservation of momentum. That is what you're accounting for. The fact that something wants to maintain its momentum from its original path. And if you are traveling from...
It doesn't. Let me show you. Can we both agree that Coriolis effect is caused by you turning on a non-inertial spinning reference frame, observing something that is in the inertial reference frame, which is two separate reference frames?
Yeah, I described that. Yes, I described it. So you are on the Earth, you are on the rotating reference frame, and something that is moving freely is the inertial reference frame. So they are two separate reference frames. Yes, we know that.
Okay.
And I'm also very aware that everything you are saying is directly parroting Nathan Oakley. I've done this over 550 times, but...
Okay. So hold on. So we both agree that there are two reference frames, one rotating, one's not. Okay, so if someone is on a rotating reference frame, like a roundabout.
A roundabout isn't a rotating reference frame. A roundabout isn't rotating.
Is roundabout rotating? Roundabout rotating?
No, the roundabout is not rotating.
No.
You are driving around the roundabout. The roundabout is not rotating. That is a false analogy.
When you are on a spinning roundabout.
Roundabouts don't spin.
That's a rotating reference frame.
You mean? Oh, sorry. Roundabouts in the UK mean something that you drive around. You're talking about like the child's toy thing,
like something the children would play. Roundabout.
Sorry. Roundabout means something different to me in my head when I first hear it. So right. So sorry. Continue your example.
Okay. So when you're on a roundabout, you are on a rotating spinning reference frame and non-inertial one. If you observe anything that is not attached to the roundabout, like a lamppost, which is not moving.
That's incorrect.
It is on a It is on a separate reference frame. You will observe a Coriolis. You will see them lamppost.
That's not Coriolis. You're conflating
and drifting
things
away
here.
from you. The lamppost is not even moving, but you are seeing this effect. Is this Coriolis?
Fung, no, that's not Coriolis. That is a completely false description of Coriolis. Coriolis applies not to things outside of what you're on. Like if you are on the roundabout, that's the merry-go-round, whatever you want to call it, that's rotating, looking at a lamppost outside of that is not the Coriolis force. That's not what it is. The Coriolis effect would be if you and I were both on the roundabout, opposite sides of this roundabout, right? And as it's rotating, I was to throw you a ball, right? From my vantage view point and your vantage point, that ball would drift, right? That is the Coriolis, not a lamppost outside of the roundabout whilst you are on a roundabout that's rotating. That is completely 100% not the Coriolis, because as you described, when you read me the description of Coriolis, it has to be a freely moving object in an inertial reference frame, not a lamppost, which is completely still, not freely moving. Freely moving is a very important part because that's how the conservation of momentum is applied. Now, I would like to show you this page. This is from hyperphysics.phy-astra.gsu.edu. So this is an educational website designed to educate people about the Coriolis force. And it describes what I described, not what you described. A golfer who is putting the ball from the center of a rotating platform would tend to miss to the right and overshoot the hole if he were unaware of the rotation. The rightward miss he could blame on the Coriolis force, and the overshoot he could blame on centrifugal force. Air which moves from the North Pole region towards a low pressure area in the Northern Hemisphere will be deflected west by the Coriolis force, because the air is a freely moving object, independent of the Earth. Air approaching the low pressure area from near the equator will be deflected eastward by the Coriolis force. This gives the cyclonic counterclockwise rotation of air around lows in the Northern Hemisphere. This is what we expect. The physical manifestations of conservation of momentum is an apparent drift that, from your vantage view of you being on the rotating reference frame, it will appear to drift to you, okay? But from the vantage point of the thing that's traveling in its own inertial reference frame, it's still just traveling in a straight line path. But that's because it has to maintain its momentum. Now, again, I've not only studied physics at degree level, but many of my audience are much, much more than that. I've got one of them in the chat, the Clive Wells, he's saying, rotating for a lamp that appears to move by a combination of cars and centrifuge. Well, Clive, he's saying that the lamppost would be outside of the thing that you're rotating on, so,
Of course it does. Of course it does.
But Coriolis applies to things that are on the rotating reference frame in a straight line path. Not things outside of the rotating reference frame. So, for instance, you couldn't be on the Earth and look at the moon and say the moon moving across the sky is due to Coriolis. That's not what Coriolis is. Coriolis is about things that are on a rotating reference frame that are moving freely and are having drift imparted onto them because of the rotating reference frame. Not things outside that are standing still. Because things that are still do not have the Coriolis force applied to them.
If the Coriolis force only applies to a rotating reference frame, why do you need two reference frames then? Why every description of Coriolis describes two separate reference frames?
Yeah, maybe short-term convert into long-term.
Well, you said it's a conservation of momentum.
Yeah,
I
also explained that there is two reference frames. Reference frame 1, rotating reference frame, the Earth, okay? Reference frame 2, the reference frame that the ballistic projectile traveling north exists in. That is the non-inertial reference frame, okay? So,
reference frame, quick. Reference frame 1, the Earth rotating.
Yes. Reference frame 2, the thing traveling independently.
2, anything that leaves the Earth that is not rotating with it. That's the second reference frame.
Anything that is in a straight line, freely moving path.
No, it doesn't need to go straight.
Well, it needs to be freely moving. Right, it needs to be freely moving. Right, that's the thing. Freely
anything
moving.
that leaves.
No. Okay, could you cite me?
That's Coriolis. You got it wrong.
Wait, hold on, Fung, hold on. Could you please cite me where it says Coriolis applies to anything that leaves the Earth's surface?
Well, actually, if you go to Wikipedia and type in Coriolis.
Okay, well, read to me the citation that says Coriolis is anything that leaves the Earth's surface. Well, because even in the citation that you read me, Fung, it mentioned specifically something that is freely moving. Right? You read that citation to me. Freely moving doesn't mean still.
Well, freely moving means not rotating with the Earth. That's in the separate reference frame.
Freely moving, not still. And a hot air balloon or a drone, they're rotating with the Earth still because they use the atmosphere to. Because they use the atmosphere.
Okay.
Okay, well, let me answer. You said how. You said how. Let me answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere is rotating.
When it leaves the Earth, how is it rotating with the atmosphere?
Do you want me to answer? You need to stop talking. Right. The answer is that the atmosphere rotates with the Earth.
Wow.
That is a fact.
Go on.
The atmosphere rotates with the Earth. That's what it does. The physical laws of fluid dynamics and friction dictate that because the Earth is rotating, it's going to be dragging the atmosphere along with it. That's exactly what happens. So a hot air balloon or a drone that is just hovering above the ground, is in the atmosphere that's rotating with the Earth. So it's
So
in the
you're-
same reference frame as the Earth. It has not changed to a freely moving path because it is still rotating with the Earth. If that drone were then to start traveling in a, straight line path, or even going off, curving left and right, whatever, once it was moving, you could then do the maths to apply Coriolis force to it. But if it was just rotating with the Earth by hovering there with the rotating atmosphere, then the Coriolis force isn't applied to it. The net sum would be 0.
Okay. I got you. So you're claiming the Earth's rotating and the air is rotating lockstep with the Earth. So that's
mostly,
why
yes.
a hot air balloon, which is not moving, will seem to stay stationary
Yes.
on the Earth. Is that correct?
Completely, because it's using the atmosphere to float there, which is rotating with the Earth. Which, if you are trying to debunk the heliocentric model, then you need to understand the heliocentric model. And the heliocentric model says that the atmosphere rotates with the Earth. So you have to take
Doesn't
that into
say that,
account
but
if you're
yeah.
trying to debunk the heliocentric model. So when you say something like, well, a hot air balloon or a drone should have Coriolis applied to it if it's just floating there, that is a classic strawman fallacy, because it's making up something about the model which we don't say as our position, then going, that doesn't happen.
But you just said-
I'm right.
No, but you just said that hot air balloons and drones seem to stay hovering.
Yes.
It's because the air is rotating lockstep
Correct, yes.
with the Earth. Yeah. Okay. So how does that work actually? Because
Frizz it.
can you demonstrate air rotating a spinning surface?
Can I demonstrate air rotating a spinning surface?
The air above it rotating lockstep with the rotating surface beneath it.
Sure.
Is
the
there
Earth.
any demonstration for it?
Mars, the Earth, Venus, anybody
This is-
in our solar
This is the
system that has
exact
an
thing
atmosphere.
you're trying to prove. That's begging the question, Craig.
No, it's not begging the question. That's not what begging the question is.
You're proving the heliocentric model, and then you use the things up there, in the sky as your proof.
Right, why am I not allowed to use other things as well as the Earth as evidence? We don't say that on Earth, within the Earth's atmosphere, you should then get things to be able to, do that, because the atmosphere is being held to the Earth by gravity and being pulled along by friction. Now, if you take a fan and start rotating that fan, it moves the air along with it, doesn't it? It drags the air with it. That's how a fan does what it does. So fucking move your hand along like this. You can feel the air being dragged with your hand as you're moving it. Friction exists. If the Earth is rotating, it will be imparting friction and dragging the atmosphere with it. Gravity is holding the atmosphere down, meaning that it's going to go with it. Also, because space doesn't have any atmosphere or anything there, there's nothing on the other end to stop the friction. So you will always have the atmosphere rotating with the Earth, because that's what fluid dynamics says would happen.
No. Let's not talk about space just yet.
Well, it's very important.
Okay, so-
it's all part of the same thing.
So you're saying the atmosphere, the round-shaped air is rotating with the Earth lockstep. So how
Not
does it gain?
not completely lockstep,
How
no.
does it gain? How does it gain kinetic energy as it go faster? Because
It doesn't.
When you
There's
go faster,
friction.
you have to go faster in order to lockstep with the air at just 1 millimeter underneath it.
It's
how does
still
it act?
rotating. It's still just rotating at 15 degrees per hour with the rest of the Earth.
Yeah, I know that.
So you don't need to gain. You don't need to. So you do not need to gain
in terms
kinetic
of
energy.
the distance traveled.
But you still don't
In
need to
terms
gain
of the
kinetic
distance
energy.
traveled,
However,
it has to
do
go
you want me to
faster.
answer? You need to stop talking so that I can answer. Right. However, the outer edges of the atmosphere do lag slightly behind. They don't have the exact same speed. Mostly it is in rotation, but there is slight lag the further up you go. However, that's what we expect. That's what the maths and our model predicts. So again, this is part of our model. You just going, oh, well, that doesn't sound right, is another fallacy. It's the fallacy of personal incredulity. If you want to prove this to yourself, that this is what we say, all you would have to do is do the maths yourself that take into account fluid dynamics, gravity, and friction. If you do the maths yourself, you would find that that is what we would expect to happen. There is a, all right, so for instance, let's say you've got a bucket of paint, right? And you put something right into the middle of it to mix that paint, and you spin it, right? The outside edges of that paint will also be spinning with the rest of it at the same rotational speed. The outside edges will be going against the outside of the paint can and slowing down a bit, but most of it will be rotating at the same speed because friction will be carrying it along with it. It's simple.
Okay.
You not believing it doesn't change the fact that that is what happens.
Okay, so one question. In your example, the paint bucket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the air attached by a string with the earth? That's one. That's one question. And number two, is air bonded?
No.
No. Both answers is no. Right.
What does that matter, though?
Air is unbonded. It's unbonded.
And what does that matter?
To the earth. So how can you use the example you just gave? Like
because friction still happens whether things are bonded,
and then you swing it.
Because friction still happens whether things are bonded or not. In fact, there's going to be more friction with things that are unbonded, because they'll be rubbing against each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's friction on every layer of the air.
Correct.
So friction is going in the opposite direction of the rotation, right?
No, the
friction is
dragging it along with it.
The opposite direction. It's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, it's
but as
dragging
you go
it along
up,
with it, yes.
As you go up, the air, or in your model and in your claim, the air has to go faster against the friction. So I'm asking you,
not against the friction, no.
The
friction is what is dragging it. There is no extra energy required.
Why? Because
the entire thing is rotating at 15 degrees per hour. It has been doing for millions of years.
That's the claim. That's not a fact. That's your claim.
No. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. It's been measured. And the fact that the atmosphere has been rotating with the Earth for billions of years means that over time, the atmosphere will be going exactly the same speed, because there's nothing outside of the atmosphere to stop that energy being imparted and dragging it along.
Friction. You just said friction.
Friction is what is dragging it. Friction is part of the forces that are making
friction doesn't drag
happen.
Things.
Friction does drag things.
Friction is going in the opposite direction.
I don't think you know what friction
is.
So
if you say friction, it's going to decrease.
Fung, listen. Friction is what is dragging the atmosphere along. The surface of the Earth is moving. It's dragging against the atmosphere, making it go with it. Friction isn't forcing it in the opposite direction.
If you consider air is one whole solid object, well, yes, but it is not. Air is unbonded.
Correct.
Right?
That's why the friction is imparted to each layer as it goes up, and it has been doing so for billions of years.
In your claim, every layer of air above it has to go faster than the layer below it.
Yeah, cool. That's no problem though. That's what friction would do. That's what friction would do. Yes, that's what friction would do.
That's why.
I
asked you to demonstrate.
Stop. Provide me the maths that says that's impossible, because I can provide you the maths that says it is possible.
It doesn't require maths, Craig.
Yes, it does. It does. No, it does. Shut up. It does require maths. You either provide me with the maths for your claim that it's impossible, or you are wrong, because I can provide you with maths for my claim that says it is possible. So one is been experimented on and verified. The other is just a claim from you that it cannot happen. I can provide evidence and experiments that show it does happen. You are just going nuh-uh. So I am putting the burden of proof on you. Do you have maths to back up your claim?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because I can provide evidence. I can provide evidence. You're making the claim that it's impossible. Provide evidence for that claim.
No. Okay,
yes.
You said you have experiments, right?
Yes, plenty.
What experiment shows the air above a rotating object can go lockstep with the rotating object?
Well, we sent robots. Here's a really good experiment. We sent robots to Mars and tested it, and it does the same there.
Wow, Mars, huh? you're using this very same thing you're trying to prove.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm trying. Wait. No, I'm not. No, I'm
Gray.
not. No, I'm not. I'm trying to demonstrate that it can happen on multiple things, right? And
Like
I am
Mars,
demonstrating
right?
that by saying it happens on another planetary body that we can go to, and we've been there, and we've got robots there that are testing these things, and we know exactly the same thing happens there as here. We've also sent probes to Venus, and exactly the same thing happens there. I am not trying to prove Earth's atmosphere by using Earth as an example. I am using other things as an example. I don't
Even
care
worse.
if you don't. I don't care if you do not believe about it. That doesn't matter. It has still happened. The experiment was sending something to another planetary body and testing its atmospheric conditions.
Craig, let me ask. This is a debate on the shape of the Earth, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you are defending the beliefs that the Earth
No,
is a
I don't
globe,
have beliefs.
and the cosmology built around it, like Mars is a planet, goes who knows how far. So
Yeah. And
this is your defense. This is your defense, but you are using this same thing you are defending.
no, I'm not. No, I'm
as
not.
your defense.
No, I'm
So
not.
that's the
No, I'm
question.
not.
So
No, I'm not.
okay.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not.
let's
I'm
go-
not. Don't lie. No, do not lie. I am not using the same thing.
I didn't
Mars
lie.
is.
It's-
Mars is.
it's
You just
lied.
lied.
You called
You
it,
just
right?
lied. Shut up. Mars is not the same thing as Earth.
Yeah, Mars is light in the sky.
No, it's a planet that we've sent robots to.
You say it.
No,
Well,
it's happened.
see,
I don't
see,
care if you. There is evidence because there is multiple robots there that have done the same thing.
Well, is there any experiment you can provide on Earth
No, because we
demonstrating?
don't expect that to be able to happen on Earth because you would need to be outside of Earth's gravitational influence for that to be able to happen. So what you are asking is a straw man of my position.
How is it a straw man?
I just told you how it's a straw man of my position because to be able to do what you were asking, I would have to be outside
Okay.
of Earth's gravitational influence.
Okay.
So on Earth,
Okay.
I cannot do what you are asking. That is a straw man of my position. It is not my position that should be able to happen on Earth. Do not straw man
Okay.
me.
Okay. So you say the Earth and the atmosphere is rotating with the Earth.
Yes.
And the Earth is subject to gravity, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Anything with masses, yes.
So why can't you provide an experiment also subject to gravity, like on Earth? Why can't you provide
You want
it?
me to provide an
And you,
experiment
why
for...
don't
Wait, hold on.
Why
What do you
can't
want me
you
to provide? An experiment for gravity?
showing the air is moving lockstep?
Because that
with
is
the rotation?
that's another straw man. There is no way on Earth that you could demonstrate what Earth's gravity does whilst you're on Earth because you're on Earth's gravity.
Well,
to be able to demonstrate that,
so-
I would need another planetary body the same size of Earth.
So you're saying that there's no way to demonstrate the effect you're describing?
Yes,
on
there
Earth.
is. There's many
that
experiments to demonstrate gravity to be a fact. Yes, many of them.
correct? Yeah. So you can't provide any experiment that is done on Earth to back up your claim.
Please provide me a citation. Please
Explanation
provide,
you can give
right,
is outside the Earth.
Fung, shut up. Please provide me a citation that science says I have to replicate something on Earth. Go on, do it.
Well,
Please tell me
that's how
anything
that's
about
how
science
you
that says
prove,
that.
Craig.
No, it's not.
That's
No, it's not.
how
You are
you
making
prove,
that up.
Craig.
There is nothing about science that says that you have to replicate something bigger on a smaller scale whilst on Earth. Nothing about science says that, ever.
What?
Nothing
So
about
it's
science
not
says you have
repeatable.
to replicate things
So
on a smaller scale.
Are you saying science and scientific experiment is not repeatable?
I'm not saying it's not repeatable, but repeatable doesn't mean it has to be done on a smaller scale.
Wow.
All right, can you provide me a citation that says experiments have to be able to be repeatable on a smaller scale? Can you provide me that citation, please? Can you do it?
I don't need to give
Yes,
you
do.
any citation
Because you
for
are
it.
making up
Well,
what you think
if
science
you say
is.
science,
You are
if you say
making up
science,
what you think science
testable?
is, Fung. Fung,
Okay,
you are making
science.
up what
Okay,
you
you
think
say
science
science.
is. You are making up
You
what
say
you think
science.
science is.
Science is observable, repeatable, and testable.
Absolutely.
None
That
of
does not
this
mean
is-
it has to be
None
repeatable
of this
on a
is
smaller scale.
possible on Earth, you say.
Yeah, but it
So-
doesn't have to be.
and
Nothing
you
about
claim
science
science.
says it has to. Fung, right? Listen. Nothing about observable, repeatable, testable says you have to be able to repeat it on a smaller scale on Earth with physical properties that we say are impossible. Nothing about science says that. You are making up what you think science is.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't strawman me.
No, I'm not strawmanning you. You just made up what you think science is.
I'm stating the correct definition of science. Well,
yeah, and where in that definition does it say it has to be repeated on a smaller scale?
Well, it has to be repeatable.
Everything's repeatable.
So
all the
you're
experiments we
basically
say are
saying
repeatable.
that there's no demonstration on Earth of what you claim because there is not another planet or another object in the size of the Earth to demonstrate it, right?
There's ones that are very close. Like I said, there's Mars, there's Venus.
It's basically saying that you have no
any
proof.
planetary body in our solar system that has an atmosphere is a repeatable example of what we get here on Earth. And we've even done experiments to send stuff there to measure and test the atmospheric conditions to show they are the same. It is repeatable. It is repeatable.
On another planet.
Please tell me where science says that's unacceptable.
So you have,
please tell me where science says that's unacceptable. If you can't, you're wrong.
Because you have to prove. Because you have to prove
science
the other planet really
science
exists.
Doesn't prove.
Maybe.
Well, the fact that we've sent multiple probes there demonstrate that it's repeatable. It's been done many times.
I saw it on TV too. Right.
I didn't see it on TV. I looked at the data.
So okay.
Hey, did you know? Actually, just before we go on, I want to give a massive congratulations to William Shatner, otherwise known as when I grew up, Captain James Tiberius Kirk of the USS Enterprise, for at the age of 90 going into space. It's amazing that he spent so long being Kirk on the show, and that he's actually got the opportunity to go into space for real.
Who has gone?
William
who
Shatner,
has gone into
fucking
space?
William Shatner went there today. So William Shatner, absolutely fucking, you changed my childhood with Star Trek. So congratulations on going to space at the age of 90. Fucking awesome achievement. Well done. Actually, kind of made me choke up a little bit.
So he claimed he's been into space.
He went to space today.
So
yeah.
he's an astronaut, right?
Yeah, he is now.
He's flying.
Got any evidence of that?
Because space doesn't exist.
Well, it absolutely does.
For how can you have gas pressure without a container?
There isn't a gas pressure without a container. That's a straw man.
Well, the Earth has a gas pressure, right?
No, it has an atmospheric pressure gradient.
It doesn't
have a gas pressure.
It doesn't now. The Earth.
The Earth does not have gas pressure, right? One of the definitions of gas pressure. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. One of the definitions of gas pressure is that it has to be an equal pressure throughout the entire thing. Earth does not match that description. Earth has an atmospheric pressure gradient, not a gas pressure. They are different things. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand there is a pressure gradient on Earth.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. So tell me, right? Here's the thing: between the base of Everest and the summit of Everest, there is a larger decrease in pressure than the summit of Everest and what we call out of space. So please tell me where the container is with that vacuum, because according to physics, any lower pressure than sea level atmospheric pressure is a vacuum. So according to physics, as you go up, there's a vacuum. So where is the container at the summit of Everest, stopping all that atmosphere escaping? Because I've never seen one. Have you?
Well, rather, you're saying the air pressure at in Mount Everest is lower than the air pressure at ground level, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So,
by a much larger margin than by a much larger margin than the summit of Everest and outer space. Yes, there's a much bigger difference.
Well, let's forget about outer space just yet. So, air is produced on ground level, right?
No, it's not.
And then it doesn't.
No, air isn't produced. No, that's not how it works.
Whoa, wow. Okay. So there's so the air works its way up to the Mount Everest. So your defense is basically claiming that the Earth has a gas pressure gradient.
Atmospheric pressure gradient, yes.
Basically the same thing.
And remember, the air pressure equalizes at the speed of sound. So can you show me? Can you show me this air pressure equalizing?
Do you want my explanation?
You mean your nonsense babbling? Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead. We're going to enjoy this laugh.
Yeah, because the Earth, unlike other container, is a dynamic system. It's not like a container sitting still. There's
dynamic systems don't create gradients.
All kinds of actions happening right now on Earth, creating
dynamic systems don't create gradients like that.
Higher pressure and lower pressure. So it's dynamic. It's always moving.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Because as you go up, what you find is that the concentration of gases remains equal to each other. So if it was a dynamic system, the gases would be mixed up and different, and also you would have gases with more density nearer the bottom with all the mixing up that would be going on. So that is completely false, because a dynamic system would not contain a gradient that goes to 10 to the negative 17 torr. That is not how dynamic systems work.
Exactly. It can't.
But there is 10 to the negative 17 torr. It's been measured.
If there is no barrier between Earth and the outer space that you're claiming, all the air we breathe right now is going to fly off into the space, never to return.
Why?
Because the air is not going to bounce back onto the Earth. There's nothing stopping it.
Well, there's a thing called gravity.
This is my claim. You cannot have gravity that you're ignoring without a container. Exactly my point.
Yeah, well, cool. So here's the thing that will completely blow your claim out of the water. The universe contains all of the pressure in the universe. The universe is a container. A low pressure system exists within the container of the universe. There's your container.
The universe is the container.
Absolutely. Answer this is a yes or no question. Does the universe? Listen, does the universe? I've got to ask you a question. Fung. I'm asking you a question. Does the universe contain all of the pressure in the universe? Yes or no?
Well, depends on how you define universe.
In the heliocentric definition of the word universe. In the heliocentric definition of the universe, does the universe contain all of the pressure in the universe? Yes or no?
Well, hypothetically, yes.
There we go. So if it's containing all of the pressure in the universe, the universe is the pressure.
And yet you are using something that is outside the Earth.
Yeah, because it's part of the model. It's part of the model.
Proof again.
It's part of the model, though, so I can use it. It's part of the model, so I can use it.
So, can you demonstrate? Can you demonstrate me on Earth?
Are you going to straw man again and ask for something that isn't possible
without the container? Can you demonstrate it to me?
Oh yeah, I can show you gas pressure without a container easily. I can easily show you a atmospheric pressure being contained without any container. It's easy. I've done it many times. You ever heard of sulfur hexafluoride?
Yep. Okay, it's a very dense gas.
I don't need a container for that.
It's a very dense gas.
Yeah, and it sits down at the bottom without being contained. Bromine gas.
Bromine.
Hydrogen sulfate gas. Water vapor. It's a gas. These all go down without containment.
Water vapor also go down.
You ever seen a diffuser? I've got a diffuser. I've got a diffuser in my bedroom that sends out lavender water vapor, and you can watch it go up and down. It goes down because of and here's the thing. And here's the thing. You are ignoring gravity, which is the cause of the atmospheric pressure gradient.
No. Let's not talk about gravity yet. So
I can talk about gravity because it's the answer of why it happens.
Yeah. I know. So in your example, the diffuser, right? So so the lavender gas doesn't disperse into your room, into the volume it has to fill. It doesn't
No,
do that.
it's no. Actually, you can see a mist that settles down on the bottom where it is. It doesn't disperse into the whole room equally. No.
And it's gonna sit there for how long?
Well, it will
Forever?
sit. Actually, what you find is that the day after I use the diffuser, I have to wipe around the area of the diffuser because the gas sits there and then gravity pulls it down and then it just
No,
becomes little bits of
that's
stuff.
that's because the diffuser is blowing onto a surface and the water vapor condenses. That's why you have to wipe your desk.
Oh yeah,
So-
so the water vapor didn't disperse into the whole room. Brilliant, cool. Thank you for demonstrating my point again.
No. I'm saying that
So
the
why does sulfur hexafluoride
the
stay in
diffuser
an open
example
box
you're using,
without being
you are actually
contained?
blowing vapor onto the surface.
Yeah, but it's going down, right? It's
your
coming
case-
out of the
your-
thing
in
and
this
it's going
case, your
down.
desk. So that's why you have to wipe it. So you're saying that the water vapor and the bromine gas and
Sulfur hexafluoride.
tetra what's sulfate again?
Sulfur
That
hexafluoride.
heavy stuff
Yeah.
doesn't disperse into the space.
No.
No, it doesn't.
No. It stays where you put it.
Wow. You are.
Have you got
How
any
do I say
evidence
it?
that it does?
Let's put
So,
it this way.
let's have a look
it
at this. Right.
defines-
Let me show you a demonstration, Fung. Okay.
Sure, please.
Where is my screen capture? Sorry, I seem to have lost. There we go. All right, so here we go. This is sulfur hexafluoride boat floating on
Yep.
air. So in this box here, a completely open container, nothing at the top containing the atmosphere, the gas that's going to be in here. So they fill it up with the sulfur hexafluoride. You can see they're filling it up, and then to show that the sulfur hexafluoride is in there and not dispersing, they put this little boat on top of the sulfur hexafluoride and it floats. So that gas is not dispersing into the room. It's just not doing it. And here's the thing. When gas does disperse, it disperses at the speed of sound. But that's not doing it. It's not doing it at all. That gas is being contained without a physical container. But do you know what is containing that gas? Gravity. Because that is the answer that you want to avoid. Gravity is creating a force that is pushing
I've seen
that
this
gas
before,
down.
actually. Okay. Is it my turn now? Okay, so the gas. So this gas is a man-made gas. It's not in nature.
Sulfur
right?
hexafluoride exists
So,
in nature. Check the Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. So
I
the
actually did
gas
the
is
here's an interesting point about that. I did the research because Wikipedia actually said that it was exclusively a man-made gas, but I did research and found that it is generated naturally and exists naturally in our atmosphere. So I changed the Wikipedia entry to say that it's both man-made and naturally occurring, and it was accepted because that's a fact.
So in the video, the gas is not dispersed. You say it's in the container, like it's demonstrated in the video, right?
It's in an open box, yeah.
Yeah, in an open box. Okay, so if the box is left open for say like 2 days, what do you think? What happens to the gas inside it?
The sulfur
Will it
hexafluoride
disperse?
stays in the box.
Will it disperse ever?
We actually did this experiment in school. We wanted to find out. So we put sulfur hexafluoride in an open container and left it in the cupboard in the science room and went in 2 days later and tested it, and there was still sulfur hexafluoride in that open box. So it doesn't.
How about 2 weeks? Is it still going to stay there?
It might, air currents and stuff might move it around, but
It won't.
It's
It
not
won't.
going to just naturally disperse and fill the volume of the room. It's going to always be at the bottom. You would not find any of the sulfur hexafluoride at the top of the room, even after 2 weeks.
Well, there's no way to verify it for both of us. right?
Well, do the experiment yourself then.
So how about So there's actually literally no way to back up your claim. So
I just showed you a video. Wait, Fung. Hold on,
bromine?
Fung. I just showed you a video of gas not expanding, of gas not needing a container. Would you like to see some ionized gas being contained without a physical container? Because that's one of my favorites.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Why not?
No, I don't. Because how about bromine? And that's another example you gave earlier on. How about bromine?
What about it?
Okay. Yeah. So does bromine? Does bromine acts like every other gas does? It expands
not every gas,
volume.
because I just showed you the gas that doesn't do that. So not every
well,
gas.
That gas disperses rather slowly, more slowly than the others. But it is still gonna.
I disagree. You're just making something up. Any claim made without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
So you think that gas, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a very long word. So you're saying that gas will never disperse into the atmosphere.
No, it would always sit at the bottom. Yeah, it would always sit at the bottom. If there was no air, if there was no air currents like wind and stuff, it would always stay at the bottom because it's denser than everything else, and gravity would put it down more.
Can you prove it?
Yeah, the fact that it didn't do it there. I've just shown you evidence.
In the video,
now you're moving the goalpost.
Yes,
now you're moving the goalpost and saying, "Well, I want to see it over 2 weeks. Well, I want to see it over 2 months." No, that's not how it works. Your claim is that gas will always expand and fill the void instantly. No, it doesn't do that. I just showed you.
You just show me a gas, a very specific gas.
Yeah, so not all gases do it.
And it's very reluctant to disperse into the air.
That not all gases will instantly fill the void?
And then I say you have no evidence that it will never disperse.
No,
so that's why I'm moving. That's why I'm moving onto another gas.
So you're moving. So you agree that you are moving the goalposts, right?
No, I'm not. Because neither of us can prove that it will always stay there, never to disperse without air current or anything. You cannot prove it. So that's why I'm moving into another example of yours.
So you're moving the goalposts, right? I understand. So you're moving the goalposts.
No, I didn't. I'm using the same example you gave. Bromine. Can we talk about bromines now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is an experiment.
So what you're saying is you've got a cherry pick.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what? Before we move on to bromine, actually, I'm going to show you.
You are the one who's cherry picking.
Before we move on to bromine,
and then represent it to all the gases.
It destroys your claim. That one specific gas destroys your claim. Now, before we move on to bromine, I'm going to show you something else. So this is the inside of a nuclear reactor, a tokamak nuclear fusion reactor. Okay.
How about showing something in nature?
Yeah, that's not how science works. So here, I want you to see something very, very fun.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh, okay, actually, that's not the best one. I'll get the other. This is the one I want. There we go. This is the one I wanted. So this is the inside of a tokamak nuclear fusion reactor, and they've added a slight nitrogen impurity so you can see exactly what's happening. That blue band you see, all right? Well, most importantly, the inside of this chamber is a practical vacuum. It's 10 to the negative 10 torr. Okay. That blue band that you see is a band of gas pressure, a band of ionized gas pressure, with no physical container. You can see it more as it expands. There we go. So there you have a ring of literal gas pressure, ionized gas specifically, being contained without a physical container. Now, this is something. This is them trying to actually get fusion to happen, and this is called a theta pinch, where they put so much electrical charge through it that it compresses the atoms together so much to almost start fusion. And I'll let that run and to the point where we can see the theta pinch happen. It's very, very. Here we go. This is really close. There we go. That was almost sustained nuclear fusion. But the important part is that there is a band of literal gas pressure being contained. Yeah, it's still gas, isn't it? It's ionized gas.
And does it happen in nature? Because that's the reality.
Irrelevant. Science doesn't have to happen in nature.
Yeah, and then you point it into the space, right?
No, but I don't know why you're asking, does this happen in nature? Because that's irrelevant to science.
What we're talking about the nature of the Earth. So
yeah, but
you're just making up more science. That doesn't matter. Science doesn't say our reality.
Science doesn't say things have to happen in nature. Please stop making up what you think
science doesn't say shit. Science doesn't say anything. Science is not a
the scientific method actually gives us a lot of instructions,
can we move
and none of it
to
says what you're
now?
saying. If you want.
So can we? Yeah. There's an experiment done when bromine gas is contained in a vacuum tube. So are you familiar with that experiment?
Yeah, and it expands instantly to fill the void. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because there's a vacuum.
That's how gas works.
In a vacuum.
On the other side of the vacuum tube, there's it's vacuum, right? It's nothing there. So when the valve opens, the bromine gas diffuses into the other side of the tube.
Yeah, because it's a vacuum with no other forces.
It expands to the volume it has to
because there's
fill.
no forces acting against it in that case, yeah? Because there's
so
no...
tell me, the sky is a vacuum...
The sky is not a vacuum.
The sky is not a vacuum now?
No.
Okay,
that's a stupid flat Earth
I know
thing.
What your point
That's
is,
a stupid flat Earth thing that you guys say. The sky is not a vacuum.
The recent claim is the atmosphere extends beyond the moon, right?
I mean, that's irrelevant. It's not really the atmosphere.
Yeah, so you're claiming the sky is not a vacuum.
Here we go. In general, space is not a vacuum.
Right. So it doesn't have the gas pressure 10 to the minus 17 torr. It doesn't now.
No, that's not. Yeah, well, it does, but that's not a vacuum. Well, it's not a perfect vacuum. No.
Okay, a very, very, very low pressure, right?
Yeah, but not a perfect vacuum though. So the sky is not a vacuum.
No, I get your point. If the sky is a very low pressure system,
is 10 to the negative 17. Hold on,
it's going to diffuse to the volume it has to fill. That's how gas works.
Well, apart from gravity,
and we'll be dead.
Yeah, but gravity exists, so that pulls the atmosphere down to Earth.
That's why I'm asking you to provide gas pressure without container. All you've demonstrated is
I showed you. I showed you gas pressure without a container being held down by gravity, which is what we claim our Earth is. If you want to be pedantic about it, gravity is also a container because it provides the energy that has to be overcome to escape Earth's gravity. So gravity acts as a container.
And it doesn't require a container.
Gravity is the container.
Well, gravity is enough, right?
Gravity is the container, yeah. Gravity provides the sufficient force, yes.
How do you measure a pressure inside a contained system? How do you measure it? Do you require a container to do so? In other words, can you weigh gas?
You do know that barometers are actually open to the atmosphere, right?
Sorry?
You do know that barometers are open to the atmosphere.
A what now?
Some of that measures pressure. Some of that measures atmospheric pressure. A barometer. They're open to the atmosphere. They're not contained either.
I know.
Measure pressure, you don't require a container, no.
That's my point, because the Earth is contained. So that's
gravity,
why.
Yes.
So that's why you can. So that's why you can do such measurement in the
because
open.
of gravity, yes.
That's exactly my claim, though.
Because of gravity,
Yeah,
yes.
so you have to
Gravity.
show me.
Gravity. Have you
So
ever
you
heard
have
of
to-
fucking gravity? Gravity.
Yeah, so you have to show me a gas pressure system without a container. How you cannot even weigh gas.
I
without
showed
a
you
container.
that. I literally showed you it.
No, you did not.
I
No, you
did.
did
I
not.
showed you the sulfur hexafluoride without a container.
It's less subject to it's not less subject to the disperse.
It
True.
is because it doesn't.
And then I also asked you.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We're not saying that the Earth's atmosphere is going to be there forever either, because the Earth's atmosphere is slowly dissipating into space. We lose about 300,000 metric tons of atmosphere a day.
So you cannot. That's the claim. I know. So you cannot.
It's been measured.
You cannot
It's not a claim,
provide
it's
me
been
an
measured.
example with gas pressure without container. Then
I did the sulfur hexafluoride.
no, it's not a gas pressure. It's not a gas pressure. Are you?
How is it not a gas pressure?
How is it a gas pressure?
Is there a pressure of gas inside that box? Yes or no?
Yeah, sure.
Well,
sure.
is that a gas pressure? Yes, it is. I tell you what, I'm going to name you a bunch of demonstrations of gas pressure without a container. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Mars, Venus, Mercury. Even the moon has a very, very slight atmosphere. That's 7 right there. I don't care if you're about to go, but they're in space because they don't count. Because that is what we are claiming happens. You asking me to show you gas pressure about a container on Earth the way that we say Earth contains the pressure is another straw man, because that is against the claim that we are making. You are making up something, saying it doesn't happen, therefore we're wrong. That is the very definition of a straw man. The answer to everything that you are saying is that gravity is holding the atmosphere to Earth. Gravity is experimentally verified, following the scientific method, over and over and over. Gravity is what's doing what we claim. You not understanding that, just like you didn't understand the Coriolis force, is a you problem.
Right, so you are saying gravity
Yes.
acts like a container.
Gravity
So
gravity is the container, yes. Gravity is containing the atmosphere on Earth, whilst all the pressure in the universe is being contained within the universe. 2 containers. Here we go. Multiple containers for you, Fung. 2 containers. So you have to be happy now.
May I ask, gravity is which gravity?
Just
Einstein
gravity.
or Newtonian?
Yeah, they're the same thing. It's cool.
No, they are not the same thing.
They absolutely are the same thing.
Newtonian
you can
gravity
break
is
down.
a force.
You can
where
break down.
Einsteinian
Yeah, but
gravity
they're
is
the
not
same
a
thing.
force. They're mutually exclusive.
Fung, they're not mutually exclusive. That is completely wrong. You can literally break down Einstein's tensor equations to Newton's law of gravity. They are the same thing. Einstein just described it more accurately. They are the same thing. No. You don't get to tell me I'm wrong about gravity when I'm the one with the degree in physics. They are the same thing. Einstein simply described it a lot better and more accurately, okay? Newton never had a theory for gravity. Newton never had a theory. Newton simply described a force that was calculable. It was an observation. The law of universal gravitational attraction is simply an observation of nature described mathematically, okay? What Einstein did was he came along. Hold on, let me finish. Einstein came along and explained why Newton was able to calculate that force. Einstein specifically said in his own words that he could not have done what he did without Newton's underpinnings. Okay? They are the same thing. One is just described a lot better. Einstein explained how it's limited by the speed of light, how it's not literally an invisible force. The force is an emergent property of mass warping space-time causing an acceleration. Okay? It doesn't change what Newton did. It doesn't make what Newton did wrong. Okay, let me finish. It doesn't ever make what Newton did wrong, because we still use Newton's equations and universal law of gravitational attraction every single day in engineering. Every single day. They still apply. because we do not need to use Einstein's understanding of gravity, because it's far too in-depth and accurate for what we need in everyday usage. They are the same thing. They describe the same thing, one just a lot more accurately.
Okay, so Craig, is gravity a force or not?
No, gravity creates a force.
Gravity creates a force.
Absolutely, yes.
Gravity creates a force.
Absolutely,
Okay,
it does.
so-
Yes. The force is a result of something else happening. It can be described as an emergent force. It exists because of something else. It exists because there is an acceleration and a mass. And as we all know, F equals ma. If you have a mass and you have acceleration, you have a force.
Well, I don't have the reference on hand, but Newtonian gravity and Einsteinian gravity are two different things. You are just wrong.
No,
okay,
they're not.
So
no, they're not. They're not.
Yeah,
Wrong. They're
you
not.
are.
No. Then explain
So,
to me. Then explain to me how you can literally, get the Newton's law of gravitational attraction if you derive it from Einstein's field equations. How can one be the other if they aren't the same?
well, they are not the same. And
Well, then
and,
how? Then how can one derive from the other if they are not the same?
I can do it, but there are loads of citations which unfortunately I didn't prepare.
And
which
none of
states
them say
Einstein.
none of them say
Einstein-
anything that you think they say.
I don't understand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So to be clear,
so-
all right, to be clear, Einstein described gravity as a warping of space-time due to mass putting pressure on space-time, which creates an acceleration.
The uneven distribution of mass.
Yeah, it causes pressure on space-time and creates warping, and
Space-time.
that creates an acceleration.
That's the word I'm looking for.
I'm talking. That creates an acceleration. Okay. So
Okay, so
there's an acceleration, and that applies to masses. So what do you get if you have a mass and an acceleration? What is there?
so
Answer the question. If you have a mass and an acceleration, what do you have?
force.
Correct.
Yeah. So space-times, you say?
Yep.
Gravity is the bending of space-time due to the uneven distribution of mass.
Correct.
So what is space-time?
Fabric of the
Is it a
universe.
physical thing? Is it a physical thing, or is it
Yeah,
just a
it's the
concept?
entire fabric of the universe. Yes.
It's a physical thing.
It's the entire fabric. It's the 3 dimensions of space mixed with the dimension of time.
Yeah. So is it a physical thing that will affect physical stuff like
Yes.
the world?
Yeah.
It will. So it's a physical thing.
It's the
then.
very fabric of the universe.
Yeah. So that's what I'm asking you. Is it
And
a
it
physical
can be
thing?
distorted by mass. Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Then you're wrong.
How am I wrong?
Space-time is not physical. Space-time is metaphorical.
Space-time is the
It's a
3.
concept. It's a concept. It's not in the same dimension.
Space-time is the 3 dimensions of space and the 1 dimension of time. And it absolutely can be manipulated, as demonstrated via experimentation, specifically the Eddington experiment of 1919, which demonstrated the prediction of Einstein's curvature of space-time perfectly. So it's been experimented, it's been verified experimentally, so you cannot say it doesn't exist and it cannot be manipulated because it's been experimentally verified following the scientific method.
It didn't. It doesn't.
Nutter doesn't work. Nutter doesn't work. I can cite you the papers for the Eddington experiment of 1919, therefore you are wrong.
Okay, so let's get it straight. You are saying space-time, the fabric of space-time, is a physical thing that would affect physical stuff on Earth. That's why.
It's
That's
the
where you're
fabric
wrong.
of the universe.
Ask anybody. They will also say that you're wrong. Space-time.
No, they won't, because
it's
it's
not
something
even
that
in
can
the
be,
same dimension. Well, even if it exists,
what do you mean
it's not in the same dimension as we're in?
Space-time is the 3 dimensions of space, X, Y, and Z.
Space-
Listen, the 3 dimensions of space, X, Y, and Z, and the dimension of time. That's what space-time is. It's a real thing, because you can travel in space and you can travel in time. Therefore, space-time is real.
You can travel in space and you can travel in time.
Yes.
You can travel in time. Time is a concept.
You're traveling in time right now.
Concept?
Time is not a concept. Time is something that's easily measurable. It's not a concept at all. Entropy literally shows that time is a thing. In fact, the second law of thermodynamics is often referred to as the arrow of time.
Well, how can you travel time then? How can you travel time?
Were you in yesterday?
Did
you exist yesterday?
Yesterday exists.
Yeah. Did you exist yesterday? Yes, you did. And do you exist now? Then you are traveling through time at the speed of 1 second per second. However, what we find is that when you increase mass or you increase speed, time slows down. Also verifying the prediction of Einstein's relativity.
How do you verify it? Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Well, GPS satellites verify that quite easily.
Yeah, how?
Well, the fact that the speed that they're traveling, we have to manually adjust the calculations that they give to counteract time dilation.
I'm not following. I don't get. I don't understand.
I know you don't get it, but that's fine. You could study it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the distortions in space-time due to mass show that when you get closer to a mass or when you increase in speed, time slows down relative for you.
Right. So, yeah.
Mass changes time. Time dilation is a thing.
This is the one thing I just want clarity from. So you're saying space-time is a physical thing that
space-time is the fabric of the universe. That is my answer for you.
Yeah. Okay. That's your answer.
Yeah.
Great. What else?
I mean, do you have anything to debunk that, or are you just going to laugh? Because I've got experiments and citations that back me up. Have you got anything, or just your personal incredulity? I think that's a Flerf super chatting me there. Or Flammo for $2 says, FTFE demonstrate time is an object and not a concept. Easy. We are traveling through time right now. Time happens all around us all of the time. We can actually measure time quite easily. For instance, we know what a second is thanks to using the amount of time that it takes for subatomic particles to travel certain lengths, a Planck length. So we know that time exists because we can measure the passage of time. It is a thing, not a concept. There is the concept of time, but that's not the same as the passage of time, which is something we can measure and manipulate.
Okay, Craig. How long is this show going to run? Or
as long as you need it to. I'm quite happy to give you this free physics lesson for as long as you need it.
Well, since we disagree on the,
if you say you disagree, here's the thing.
Concept regarding.
Fung. Here's the thing, right? If you disagree with all of science, you're not disagreeing. You're just wrong.
No. I don't disagree with science. I'm not.
Yes, you do.
Denier.
You are a science denier. You disagree with all of science and everything that scientists say. So you're not disagreeing. You're just wrong. It's as simple as that. All of science says that you're wrong. You disagreeing with that just means that you're wrong. It doesn't matter if you disagree. You're just wrong.
It doesn't work like that.
It does, because nothing backs you up. Nothing at all backs you up. Therefore, you are wrong. All of science literally says that you are wrong. There is not one bit about science that says that you are correct. There is not one part about Coriolis that says that you are correct. There is not one part about our understanding of space-time that says you are correct. You are just wrong, and you need to accept it and realize that being wrong is what flat earthers do best. Oh, and lie, of course. Because you got to lie to Flerf.
No. That's not how it works, Greg.
It is how it works, actually.
Because
you don't have anything to counter it apart from your personal incredulity.
What you're claiming all along, you're pointing out objects like Mars, Venus, Moon as
real things,
and then you point out Mars rovers on Mars as your proof,
and
it's not demonstrable. It's not demonstrable. It is.
Excuse me, it's not demonstrable. Then why is there multiple? If it's not demonstrable, if it's not demonstratable, why is there multiple robots demonstrating the same thing?
Because they are not on Mars, Craig.
So you say, but the multiple robots that confirm all the other ones got there disagree with you.
Yeah, you've got the robot on Mars.
Yes, we do. We have many robots on Mars.
Yeah. I get that. That's your fantasy.
No, it's not fantasy. It's a fact.
We have nature laws to back us up. You cannot have gas pressure without a container.
I showed you it.
How do you weigh gas? How do you weigh it?
How do we weigh gas? Put it in something and see how much it weighs.
Do you need a container? Do you need a container to do so?
No, not necessarily. Calculate the volume of a particular part of gas and the mass that it's got, and you can easily calculate the weight based on acceleration on Earth. You don't need a container to make that calculation. However, once again, there is a container. It's called gravity.
So my question is, do you need a container to weigh gas, or you don't?
Not necessarily, no.
You don't?
Not necessarily, no.
How do you weigh gas without container?
Get a sensitive enough scale, and you could just put it down, and the weight of the atmosphere on top of it would be able, you'd be able to weigh it. But again,
you can't.
The Earth does have a container. Fung, I don't know why you keep going on about gas pressure without a container, because there is a container. In fact, there's two, as we discussed, gravity and the universe. So you cannot say gas pressure without a container, because we in fact have two containers, okay?
So your container is the universe then?
And gravity, yes.
So your container is universe.
And gravity, yes.
And the gas pressure is the force.
Wait. No. Say it right. Say it right. Not gas pressure. Atmospheric pressure gradient. Say it right.
No. Gas pressure.
They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing, because gas pressure has to have an equal pressure throughout. That is one of the definitions of gas pressure.
I just said because the Earth is a dynamic system.
It's not a dynamic system. That would not equal a relative concentration of gases to each other at all levels, and a dynamic system would not create a pressure gradient. There is no examples of dynamic systems creating pressure gradients. Now, here's one thought experiment for you, and this is something that actually happens. Okay. If you I am talking. Thank you.
Yeah, it's your thought.
Yeah,
it's your thought.
I am talking.
Yeah, go on.
So, if you get a container of gas, like an oxygen tank or something, right? That container will have a pressure gradient inside of it. Okay? It will be higher at the bottom and lower at the top inside that container. However, if you take that container and flip it upside down, the gas pressure also flips upside down, the pressure gradient, which means that whichever way you hold it, the higher pressure will always be at the bottom of that container. And you can measure this yourself to see that it's true. There will always be a pressure gradient when you are here on Earth because of gravity. And unless you can debunk gravity, which you can't do because, experiments verify its existence, then you have no case, because gravity is the thing that contains the atmosphere on Earth. Now, all of the pressure in the universe is contained by the universe. You only have straw man arguments. That's all you have. Gas pressure next to a vacuum is a straw man argument of the heliocentric model. It is not what we claim. We do not claim that there is a gas pressure next to a vacuum. That is a flat earth straw man that was made up by idiots. What we claim, and what is factually measured, is that there is a pressure gradient going from roughly 14.7 psi up to practically 0 psi. And this has been measured. A friend of mine sent a weather balloon up to practically a vacuum. It was 10 to the 2 torr, and there was no container. There was no container when he was in a practical vacuum. So you are wrong with what you say. You straw man with what you say, and that is all there is to it.
Okay.
I would drop my mic, but it's on a stand.
No, please don't. The first example, you said a oxygen tank contains a pressure gradient, right?
Correct. Yes.
In an oxygen tank, what happens if you remove the tank? The air disperses into the volume. In this case, the Earth.
What we
never
expect
to be seen again.
Yes.
That's number one.
Yeah, so you just ignored my point, right? You ignored my point about the pressure gradient. What's creating the pressure gradient?
Well, you have to have a air pressure first. You see.
What? No. That's not the question. That's not the question, Fung. Fung. The question is, what is creating the pressure gradient?
I don't know. I don't know.
Gravity.
I don't care.
Yeah, you should
I don't
care
know,
because it's
I don't
important.
care.
Because that's all our claim is. All our claim is the pressure gradient.
You know what?
That's it.
Because I'm using the same example you gave, like a oxygen tank.
Yeah.
You have to contain it in order to have pressure first.
Yeah, gravity contains the Earth's atmospheric pressure.
After you have the pressure, then you can have pressure gradient.
Yeah, that's fine. We've got gravity. Fung.
This is exactly my point, Craig.
We've got gravity. Gravity is our container. That's no problem. We've got the container. It's called gravity.
Then you are moving the goalpost from a physical container to something that is not actual.
Wait. I showed you that you don't need a physical container.
You're holding two positions.
Could you show me? Could you please cite me where it says that gas pressure has to have a physical container?
Well, every definition of gas pressure does. Even NASA
it says it has to have a physical.
You can look it up. I don't even have to say the words physical
container?
It's pretty easy.
Does it
even
say the
says in the equation?
Does it say the words physical container?
What do you think? What do you think V stands for? Volume. In the equation of pressure, volume.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but again, we don't have gas pressure. We have an atmospheric pressure gradient. They are not the same thing.
We go around circles. Like
Fung. They aren't the same thing. Repeat after me. Gas pressure and atmospheric pressure gradients are not the same thing.
Yes, I can repeat it after you. Gas pressure and gas pressure gradient are not the same thing.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Gas pressure and atmospheric pressure gradients are not the same thing. Say those words.
Gas pressure and atmospheric gas pressure gradients are not the same thing.
No. Atmospheric pressure.
What game are you playing,
listen,
Craig?
I want you to say the words properly. Gas pressure and atmospheric pressure gradients are not the same thing.
I just said.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You added the word gas where it shouldn't be. I want you to say it properly. Say it properly. Gas pressure and atmospheric pressure gradients are not the same thing.
Gas pressure and atmospheric gas gradient?
No. You don't have gas. The word gas doesn't come into the second part.
I don't
gas
care,
pressure.
Chris.
I need you to understand. This needs to be drilled into your thick head. Gas pressure and atmospheric pressure gradients are not the same thing. Say those exact words.
Atmospheric pressure gradient and gas pressure are not the same thing.
Boom! There we go. Conversation over.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so can we move on now? So you say the universe is your container.
It contains everything in the universe. Yes.
So that's the V. So my question is, what's the pressure? If the V is your universe, then what's the pressure?
It would be all of the pressure in the universe, which is approximately 10 to the negative 17 torr.
Yeah, then how can we have the pressure we have on Earth?
Gravity.
If the volume itself is the universe.
Gravity.
Okay, great. Gravity, and then you say, yeah, gravity.
Yeah.
And then you say gravity is the bending of space-time due to uneven distribution of mass.
Yeah, experimentally verified, correct,
space-time,
yes. Experimentally verified, yes.
Say space-time is a physical thing.
It's the fabric of the universe. Stop putting words in my mouth. It's the fabric of the universe, and it can be manipulated with physical things.
Yeah. So you're saying space-time, or in this case, Einstein, space-time is a physical thing.
It's the fabric of the universe. Stop asking the same question.
Is it physical? Because only physical.
It's the fabric of the. Right, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. It is the fabric of the universe. It is the combination of the 3 dimensions of space with the 1 dimension of time.
Yeah,
it can be manipulated using mass.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I get that.
So
you're okay. Let's just.
Right. Has gravity been?
I remember you also said your friend went to a practic vacuum. Is that what you say? In a hot air balloon?
He sent up a weather balloon to 36,000 feet. Saw the curve of the Earth quite conclusively with a non-fisheye lens. It was quite impressive.
But you just said there's no vacuum.
I said a practical vacuum, not an actual vacuum. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as a perfect vacuum. It's just an extremely low pressure system. The colloquial usage would refer to it as a vacuum, but it's simply a low pressure system. Huh. Personal incredulity isn't that. All you've done so far is been incredulous about how the physical universe works. How about you provide some evidence that the Earth is flat?
I just did.
No, you didn't. All you did was misunderstand the heliocentric model. That's all you've done. So how about you provide some positive evidence for your claim that the Earth is flat and stationary? Like, I don't know, a measurement, a picture, I don't know, anything, an experiment that verifies that the Earth is actually flat and stationary. Anything. Because I've got experiments and measurements that say the opposite. Right? I have done enough defending my position against your ignorance of physics. Now it's time for you to present some evidence that the Earth is flat. Because so far, you haven't done it.
Yeah, because so far I'm debunking the Earth. Hey, listen quick. It's nearly 9 for me now, and then I have to go to work. So why don't we do a part 2 of it, and then I will present you.
And how about I bring on some PhD physicists to talk to you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you like. Whatever you like. So I have to go to work now, and then nice talking to you.
Thank you, Fung. Do me a favor, read a physics book, yeah?
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
I don't think you did. All right, catch you later.
All right, bye.
Work. I didn't realize giving hand jobs in gas station counted as work, but hey, you got that. So that was fun. You notice the second I was like, you got any evidence that the Earth is flat? Off he ran. I'm going to see if Mr. Toon wants to come in for a quick chat about that. Toon, I've just sent you a link if you want to join for a quick chat about the complete and utter stupid. I was worried there was going to be language barrier because he did say he wasn't very good at English, but I think he was easy enough to understand. And obviously a disciple of Nathan Oakley because literally parroted all the stuff that Nathan Oakley normally does. Sorry, I'm just looking at Flerf for tomorrow. I might be trying to bail. That would be fun. Yeah, Draco, I'll send you a link as well. Oh. Draco, tag me. Oh no, there you are. No, I don't know if that's you. Draco, tag me in Discord, because I have literally thousands of messages and I can't find you right now. Tag me in Discord and I'll send you a link. Toon still there? Or has he ran away now? Got bored of the stupid. One sec, guys. I'm just going to get a couple of people in. There is Draco Fire. Oops. Nearly gave him Toon's link, but I don't know if Toon's coming, so that would have been alright. Bear in one sec, guys. And I will read some super chats and stuff as well. Copy link. Oh, close. Copy link. Oh, no, I can't. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to give you... Toons, because I don't think he's coming. Alright, yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Flat Earth destroyed once again. Literally, no Flat Earth evidence. All there is, ignorance and stupidity. Like, ever. It's fantastic. Right. Super chats. Once again, you guys are fucking amazing for the support you provide me. Honestly, there was like 720 people watching at one point. Blows my fucking mind. You'll like the stupid that much. New episode of Flerfs for Idiots out this week called More Flat Earthers Getting Arrested. If you haven't seen last week's, then you really need to go check that out, because it's been fucking going a little bit viral. I've been quite happy with that one. Plus, it's making the Flat Earthers very, very, very angry. You come in, Draco? I've sent you the link. If you're not able to support me financially, the best way to help the channel is to share what I do on Facebook and Twitter. So much of my traffic comes from there, and I went on a bit of a spree of getting people to share my last video, and it really helped it get out there. But, pardon me, thank you for the super chats and becoming members and stuff. It warms me cockles that you guys want to support me so much. Eon Dust $5 says, "Arg, why did you have to start now? I'm in the middle of a photo shoot. Pics or it didn't happen." Alison, "Good morning, people. Stay hydrated. In line with condition, why is navigation based on a globe?" They hate that fucking question, dude, don't they? VMix doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I have to open up Zoom again. Hold on. Got to be awkward, aren't you? Eh? Fucking kids these days, I don't know. There you go, Draco. Right. Sparky NJ, who's been a member for 22 fucking months, with his monthly free super chat. Remember, if you are a member, you can send one free super chat a month, which is amazing. Says, "Here is to you, Craig. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much. YKikamuka 855 for $2. Is it sad that I have seen all 600 debates? I'm sorry for your therapy bill. Draco, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I just heard that one. All 600. That's dangerous, honestly.
Yeah. What I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is I did so many debates on the Non Sequitur show when it existed, and that's basically dead. So I'm going to start putting those old debates on my channel as premieres and watching them with everybody. See how far I've come since the old Non Sequitur days. But yeah, there's a good 100 on Non Sequitur. There may be like, I don't know, 30 or 40 on modern day debates, and there's at least 550 on this channel. Like, it's ridiculous how many I've done.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
So
I wonder how many hours of content that is total.
What did you think of Fung?
What did I think?
Yeah.
He really thought he was a lot smarter than he was.
They all do, right?
Like, that was honestly impressive, the level of Dunning-Kruger I got from this guy.
Yeah.
I only caught about half of it, but that half is all I needed to hear.
I know. It's like, that is all that there is for Flat Earth right now, is them just strawmanning the globe. Nothing else, just strawmanning the globe. And that's all he had, was not understanding what Coriolis is, and not understanding what our actual claims are about, the atmospheric pressure and stuff. And the second I asked him for Flat Earth evidence, I've got to go work. I've got to go
Yeah,
work.
I came in 50 minutes into the debate. The first thing I hear is, how do you have gas pressure without a container? And then he spent 50 fucking minutes going on and on about how you can't have gas pressure without a container. Didn't give a single word of evidence for his own position. He
Even
just
when I
repeated
kept
the
showing
same
him,
thing.
like, here's gas pressure without a container. Here's gas pressure without a container. Here's
No, that
what our
doesn't work
container
though.
is.
But it doesn't work like that. No, that's wrong. You're literally wrong.
Mandevil says he remembers my first ever non-sec debate where I shouted at what's his name, fucking Mind of God. What is wrong with you? You're a grown-ass man, for fuck's sake.
Oh, some of your insults were a little bit harsher back then, like you need to go apologize to a tree.
Yeah, although I think I was quite harsh with my Riley insults in my video. What was it I said? Everyone who's ever loved you was wrong. I'm frankly jealous of all the people that haven't met you. I hope you don't have kids, but I don't think that will ever happen, as your personality is the best contraceptive I've ever seen.
Fuck off, and when you get there, fuck off again. I love that one. I've
so
used
many
that
people
myself.
were like,
that one's
yeah,
so
that's
good.
brilliant.
Oh.
Oh, man. I have so much fun doing this, Draco. Honestly, this is like the best job in the world.
I can imagine. It's enough fun just for me coming on once every month. You get to do it every week.
Channel Right for £2 says, ask William Shatner if the Earth is flat. Well, he fucking knows now for sure, because the dude's been to space. After commanding the Enterprise for so long. Tim Tully, $5. Wikipedia is not peer-reviewed source. Fung reminds me of Oakley without the mute button and insults. Yeah, I didn't use the mute button. I just told him to shut the fuck up. But yeah, this is how little Wikipedia is a peer-reviewed source. I change Wikipedia articles all the fucking time. I mean, I change them to things that are correct, but I've got about 17,000 edits on Wikipedia. Quite a lot of
Wikipedia,
stuff.
It's not a peer-reviewed source on itself, but most of the time articles will link you to other peer-reviewed sources. But like the Wikipedia itself is not enough of a source to give conclusive information.
No, I mean, you can only update Wikipedia if you're able to cite the things. And the thing about Wikipedia is it can be useful because it can link you to proper citations and stuff that you can use. But just using a Wikipedia article is fucking useless because literally anyone can edit them, you know? Just like JM Truth's IMBD page.
And Eric Dubé's.
And Eric Dubé's. Oh, they're still like it. It's fucking brilliant.
Is it still up?
Yeah, it's still like that. They did change it back, and I've got it copy and pasted, saved on a notepad. So whenever I go on and see it change, I just instantly change it back. I check it like once a week, and I think I've had to change it back twice.
Brilliant.
Baron Bonji 499 says, get in fight. You need to understand the heliocentric model in order to even discuss it. Forget debunking it. Yep, absolutely. Joey Oakley with the most unfortunate name. 199. Craig, you obviously met your match tonight. Lol. I know, right? Fuck's sake. Oflamo for $5. So I think that's a Flerf. Says, see if you can get a brilliant.org sponsorship so you can sell physics exercise to Flerfs. Oh, I'm sorry, Oflamo. You're not a Flerf. If I called you a Flerf, I'm sorry. You've got a very similar name to a Flerf that I talk to often. Then we got Beach8, who's been a member for 20 months, says, how do these people remember to breathe? Ow. My head.
I've got a theory that Flerfs actually get hooked up to like a respirator that breathes for them because otherwise they'd forget.
Yeah, at nighttime, like, you know, I don't think they've got the mental fortitude for the automatic functions. So if they're not conscious, they have to have something breathe for them.
And to use their heartbeat and swallow and all that kind of stuff.
It's really funny. If you ever see a flat earther who's walking, ask them to talk at the same time and they just fall over. They can't do it.
I'll try that.
Pitbull 420, $2 says, the stupid is strong with this one. Yes, it is. Connor Silverfur, the irony of imposing so many extra standards on science is that they cannot themselves meet these standards, thus only exposing their hypocrisy. I have yet to see a Flerf experiment measure up. He says space is real, but the goalposts he moved are now in space, right?
Oh, yeah. He just kept moving them a little bit further, and then he tried to justify moving them. That was my favorite part.
I know.
He was like, well, I'm moving it because you're talking about something that doesn't exist in nature. You have to talk about nature, but now you have to have something that lasts for longer.
Oh,
now you
my
have to
God.
have something in space.
Man, I'm so sorry for your young mind, Draco. What have I done to you? For fuck's sake.
Yeah. If my uni grades start to fall, I'm blaming you.
Droopy Wiener for who's been a member for 9 months says, "How do these window lickers not fry your brain?" I don't know.
Perhaps
of
a lot of liquor.
cannabis. Lots of cannabis, I guess. Free Ron and Draco, you're not allowed cannabis. You're too young. Just so you know. You shouldn't.
I'm not.
You shouldn't have
Yikes.
cannabis until you're about 25. Is what current studies say, because that's when your brain kind of stops developing when you hit 25.
Yep.
And cannabis before that point can impede the the progress of the brain. But after 25, fucking smoke all you want.
Obviously, I'd rather keep my brain in full
Yeah.
function. I don't want to turn into a Flerf.
No one wants that. No one wants that. When I'm mad at my kids, I call them flat earthers. Shut up, you little
That's a
flat
little
earther,
too-
and go tidy your room.
I don't know. That might count as child abuse, Craig. That's a little
Probably.
bit harsh.
Free one for $2 says, "Fung, you dishonor your parents greatly." Girthy Earth for $5 says, "Why do Flerfs think man-made substances don't have to obey physics? Because they're fucking idiots." Ding. The Sun
Yeah,
Express.
see, it proves which Flerf that Fung follows. He follows Riley because he pulled
Riley
out
and Oakley,
yeah, he pulled out the natural world, man-made are not the same thing. Like man-made means not natural. Like I was like, boom, I know exactly who this guy gets his stuff from now.
Sun Express $5 says, "Does it happen in nature?" Yes, every single star. Stars equals gigantic spheres of plasma. Siggy Sigward for 100 ARS. Don't know what that is, but thank you very much. Baron Von G 499. Flat Earthers and the vacuum. I'm probably wrong, but I don't think a vacuum exists in our universe. At least one particle of helium somewhere. Yeah, that's the point. There is no perfect vacuum. The sky is not a vacuum. Junk Shop Library, been a member for 2 months. Mathematics is a 4-syllable, and that's 3 too many. Yeah, Flerfs, don't language or stuff. Don't talk to them. Baron Von G 499. I meant hydrogen, not helium. I know what you meant, but there's probably some hydrogen out there as well. Flamo for $2 says, "FTFE demonstrate time is not a concept." My teabag experiment does that. Balthazar 228 499. "Despite being an engineer and a globehead, I'm intrigued with the concept of space-time and how it would improve my instant pot cooking." No, TIME, not THYME. Don't get them confused. You put space-time in your cooking, some weird shit happens, honestly.
See, that might have been the issue that he had, that Fung had. Maybe he was thinking about time, like the herb.
Yeah.
And that might have screwed him up. He's like, "Oh, how can you have space time? Like I've not heard from time from space."
Philosopher King Gamer with $2. Check out Time's YouTube channel. Ori Coroni. Okay then. Joey Oakley 199. "Fight. You heard the laugh. Boom. Flat Earth lol." Cornel Silver for $5. "The problem with our Fleur friends isn't that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so." Eon Dust, $5 Australian. "I love how Flerfs think they can argue with people who spend years of their lives to understand something when they can only manage a weekend. They can't even concentrate for a weekend." The Sun Express, $5. "Hey Fung, how do cartographers know how to draw sizes and shapes of countries? The answer is clearly magic." Girthy Earth for $5.
Cognition.
"Flerfs never provide any positive evidence of flat Earth. They only have evidence of their misunderstanding of the heliocentric model." Yeah, we should rename the flat Earth to Strawman. That's just it. So you're a Strawman follower, right? Okay.
Oh, so you're an incredulist. Yeah.
Yes. JRock69 for $6.99 Canadian says, "Why'd you do this to yourself, Craig? This guy's just another denialist like the rest. Hail Satan 69 times." Yeah, science deniers. That's all they are. Flerf Buster, $5 Canadian. "Being super critical about global evidence, yet believing flat Earth blindly. Oh, the Flerf irony." Joey Oakley, $1.99. "What colour is green?" Well, you could describe it in the wavelength, I guess. Not exactly sure what that is. And then some asshole called Draco Fire, who's been a member for 15 months, says, "I thought Asian parents were more strict with their children's education. I guess Fung is single-handedly proving that stereotype wrong. Thanks, lol." I don't want to bring up stereotypes, but I mean, he wasn't very good at maths. Baron Von G 499. "Fight. New litmus question for the advanced Flerf. How does Planck distance solve the Zeno's paradox?" That's what I was talking about with
Advanced Flerf.
I know, right?
That's a bit of a oxymoron, isn't it?
Look, getting a Flerf to connect to a Zoom call and talking coherent English is hard enough. Siggy Sigurd, 100 ARS. "I've watched 90% of this debate, and I can conclude based on the information gathered that there are just 2 types of Flerfers. Those suffering of Dunning-Kruger and those who are intellectually dishonest. It's usually a combination of the two, honestly." Connell Silver for $2. Is space-time physical? 2 words, black holes. Absolutely. JRock69, 6.99 Canadian. You're really on your game lately, Craig. Stopping them in their tracks. Don't let anything ever get you down. I struggle to sometimes. Yeah, life is hard, and I know we've just gone past World Mental Health Awareness Day. But if you do need to chat, there is a section in my Discord specifically for talking about mental health. I've had some problems with mental health lately, and I know everyone does. If anyone ever wants to come and chat to me about mental health, just hit me up. Andreas Eldritch 56, thanks for the great show. Dumpster fire or not, it's always entertaining. I'm pretty sure that was a dumpster.
It was a dumpster fire with no raised voices.
Yeah. JRock69 for $2.79 Canadian. Dumb question, but how do I become a member? You hit the join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Balthazar228 $4.99. Streamlabs and Stream Elements or alternatives can help you keep more of each donation. Worth checking out. Yeah, I know, but YouTube likes it when you get super chats. It actually helps your channel. It's all about interaction.
Well, it's because they get some money from it.
Yeah,
so
there's
they try
also
to push
that.
your videos out more.
And
they push your videos out more, and it gives you more engagement. So it helps to get YouTube super chats. That's
and
why I
also,
super chat here instead of like going to Patreon or something.
If I start promoting like Streamlabs as an alternative and stuff, YouTube actually pick on that and don't push up my videos as much. So we are slaves to the YouTube gods. Balthazar228 $4.99. I'm detecting a drift, a 15,000 brain cell per hour drift from my head whilst watching this. Eon Dust for $5 says I should do a Flerf themed photo shoot. It'd just be me opening and closing a gate whilst wearing a crash helmet. And that's on
a classic.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to like the 80s here.
I know, right? That's on Xander for $5. Is space-time related to cat space, comma? We'll have to see if they know each other. And last one, Dave Kircher, $5. There's only one response for an endless stream of personal incredulity. Fact your feelings, exactly. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Draco, thank you for coming on for a quick chat with me. I really do appreciate it. And I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate your support.
Of course, always glad to come on.
Guys, I'm pretty sure Team Skeptic is streaming right now, so if you want to go over some fun, one of my mods, please chuck his link in the chat and go over and say hello to Team Skeptic. I should be back tomorrow with another Flat Earth debate, if the Flat Earther is brave enough to turn up. His name's Justin Bant from Facebook. But if not, there will be a new episode of Flerfs Idiots probably out on Friday, maybe Saturday, depends how the editing goes. Until then, remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the Flat Earth. Alright, I'll speak to you later, Draco.
Yep, see you later.
Bye.
I didn't